Day 2 in the life of using the iPhone 16 Pro was a whole different experience. I've been out all day long testing out the Apple log on this iPhone 16 Pro, and it turned out better than I expected. For real. Yo, this looks good. I'll be honest, I'm not a professional colorist and I'm not always that guy that wants to use log, but I had to test it out, being one of the dopest features on the iPhone 16 Pro, especially coming from an iPhone 13 mini. I did not have log on there. This is dope. Actually getting an image out of this phone that isn't overly sharpened, that's soft, it has dynamic range, is extremely useful for any type of professional work. So I just quickly want to tell y'all what I think about the log coming out of the iPhone 16 Pro. Shooting these shots during the day where there was plenty of light and around sunset where the light was just beautiful. These shots just look incredible after color grading them. The blacks were soft. The details in the highlights in the sky look great. Now, some of the low light shots that I got earlier while I was riding around, they're all right. You can still see grain in them, but if you color grade them properly, you can still get a nice looking image out of this. And then you can even denoise this footage, especially on the wide angle lens. You're gonna get a little bit of noise and a little bit of mush in some of that footage. Even this clip right here, I don't know what it did. I exposed for the shot, and then when I cut the lights on, it looked like it blew it out. But even then, I was able to drop down the mid-tones, I was able to drop down the highlights, and then even add some grain and film emulation over top of it, and this doesn't look bad to me. I would use this clip. So now that you've seen some of the clips that I shot using Apple log on the iPhone 16 Pro, I want to hop on the computer and actually show you how I colored them from scratch. All right, first shot right here, this just looks so good. It's so dynamic. You can see all the details and the blacks. Everything looks good, and then you go back, the log looks good. Honestly, all I did was set up the shot for this, and I didn't tap the screen or anything to expose it. I let it expose it on its own because you can only see the log. You can't see it with an assist. And then I just hit record and let it film. And it just did such a good job because after I color graded it, everything looks so good. You can still see the details and the highlights in the sky back there. You can see these details in the blacks after I lifted them a little bit. It looks good. So if we click this clip and we come up here, you can see everything that I used. I did not use the Apple log Rec 709 LUT that comes in the program or whatever that comes from Apple. I colored this from scratch. I added a color wheels right here. I added some blacks in, I dropped the midtones way down, and I even pumped the highlights up a little bit. Then right here, you can see I added some saturation to the clip, and that looks good. It looks like back to normal Rec 709. Come back here, I added a hue saturation. If I toggle that off, on, you can see that I tweaked some of the colors. Basically, I tweaked some of the blues, I tweaked some of the greens. Let's tap on it and took some of the greens and blues down in saturation, and then, like I said, tweaked some of the hues of the greens, yellows, and blues. Then I dropped a color curves right here onto it, and all I did was kind of soften the blacks, lift them up a little bit, bring the mids down, some mids down slightly, whites up just a tad bit. Very slight details with the curves. And then I added another color wheels on top of it. If I bring that back, and then I added some color into the mid-tone, some oranges into the mid-tone, and I add some oranges into the highlights, just to give it some more color and some more warm tones to the image and kind of stylize it. And this just looks good. Coming from that flat log footage, look how good it colors down. That's crazy. Then on this clip, I just copy and pasted the same settings onto this clip as well, and it just automatically looked good. All right, for this one, it's a little different. It is a low light type shot, but there is lights and there's also mist that's carrying the light. It just looks super dynamic. It looks super cool and, like, I don't know, just cinematic, bro. So what I did for this clip is I copy and pasted that same color grade from the first clip, but then I brought the hue saturation curve down to the bottom and I did some more tweaking. I brought those greens and aqua teals down instead of up like they were in that first one. I lifted the blues up on the hue. I tweaked a lot of these colors, so if I take that back to normal, you can see those blues are different, the orange and yellows are different, everything's kind of different. Even the reds right here, if I reset that, you can see these reds on these poles are more of a like orangish red. Then on the saturation, I just took some of the blues down, brought them down from out of the sky, etc. But they still got that green tint up there. And why they got that green tint up there is because of this color wheels right here. This color wheels right here, basically I switched it up. I went to the shadows, I added blues into the shadows, the midtones, I added some oranges, and then in the highlights, I added some yellows kind of to tweak this blue into like a greenish, and then tweak these colors coming from the lights to like a more orangish, yellowish tone, just to make it look cinematic. For this clip right here, I actually used Color Finale. So inside Color Finale, there's a color management space where you hit edit and then you can hit the color profile and assume log. What this does is it brings it back to a Rec 709. So I did not color this one from complete scratch. It brought it back to like a Rec 709 space. And then I added some layers down here. I added a color wheels and did some more contrast to it. I added a curves and did like a similar curve like the first color grade. Then I went into these 6 color vectors and kind of tweaked some of the colors as well. And then again, I dropped another color wheels, added blues into the shadows, and then in the mids and the highlights, I added a warm orangish yellowish tone to it, which just kind of made this T and this label on the T pop. But you can see, like, just coming from that log footage, it just gives it such a clean look coming out of a freaking iPhone, man. Coming out of the iPhone 16 Pro, this looks like a freaking DSLR camera. Then this shot right here was just awesome. You got the freaking private jet flying in. That was a really cool shot. I bet you won't guess how I colored this video. Yes, you got it right. I copy and pasted the Color Finale from this clip right here onto this one, and then basically all I did was go in and tweak the colors again. Come into these layers, come down to the 6 vectors. I tweaked some of the different hues and brought colors in and out. Then also on this color wheels, I added blues into the shadows. And then on the midtones, I brought it to the aqua side instead of the warm side. And then in the highlights, I brought it up into the orange so that those clouds up there, you can see kind of like a nice orangish yellowish tone coming from that sun. But honestly, it's just crazy that shooting this log, Apple log, coming out of an iPhone 16 Pro can look so good. It really can meet the same quality and like the same needs as like your camera. So if I don't have my professional camera with me, I can definitely take this out with me, and I know that I can set it on a tripod, frame it up, and I can get some really nice shots. Now, as far as these low light shots right here go, this was the wide angle, and you can see if I zoom this in, you can see it's grainy and it's kind of mushy, and it's not my favorite. I could add denoise to it and it could help out a little bit, but honestly, it's not that good. If I come back here to this wide shot, it's not that bad because I'm using the 1x one-time lens. I'm not using the super wide angle lens. I'm using the 1x, and I think this one looks pretty good. I could denoise this, and I could definitely use this. This could go into a project easy. So no, I don't think that the low light is totally bad. I just think on the wide angle lens, it's not like that. I think that 1x and higher, you could probably get you could get some good shots. This was on the 5x lens, and I don't know what happened. This light just blew out, and all the mist coming from the water was making the light carry and get brighter, and it just messed it all up. I don't know how that even happened, but I got it to this space right here, and then I added this film emulation over top of it, which adds grain and kind of blows out the highlights. And honestly, it doesn't look bad. Like, I would use this clip in a video or a story or a project and it would be fine. It's not that big of a deal. Honestly, it looks good. Oh yeah, back to this clip right here, because this is my favorite clip. I did forget to mention that halfway through, when I had like the text pop up shot on iPhone 16 Pro log, I did add a film emulation over top of this so that it transitioned from my color grade into this kind of like film emulated look, and I think this made it look even better. It looks 10 times better, adding the grain and the film emulation over top of it. If you're curious, this film emulation is from the M-Music Video 2 pack from Motion VFX. I'll link it down below. You can go check it out. You can see right here, overlay effects, the film emulation. I just dropped this right over top of it and dragged it over, and I think it made it look better, honestly. It looks dope. It looks so fire, bro. So my conclusion on the Apple log coming from the iPhone 16 Pro, and I'm pretty sure it's probably just as good in the 15 Pros as well. I'm actually blown away how good the log looks, and I'm definitely gonna be using this in future projects. And I think I wanna shoot a music video coming up this week with one of my friends using the Apple log and the iPhone 16 Pro, maybe like a little gimbal and a tripod shots and car mount shots. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you're tapped in, because that's probably gonna be the the next video. Or I might take it out and take some pictures. We'll see.